I was working 14 hours every day, not for myself, but for meetings. That's the life in private sector. If you are not living that life, you should already consider yourself privileged. If you're powerless in life, you cannot have a great relationship with your children as well. If you're powerless in life, you cannot serve your parents also well. And very interestingly, contrary to what people think, power does not just come from designation. Here is the question to all of you. What matters most to you in your life and why? Think for a minute, all of you. Early in my 20s, I realized something about myself. I was working 14 hours every day. I was waking up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. every day, not for myself, but for meetings. And many a times I was ending my day at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. That's the life in private sector. If you are not living that life, you should already consider yourself privileged. And I realized one thing, that freedom of time is the most important thing for me. I will do anything and everything in my power to just solve for that. Now, all the decisions that I eventually took from there on, they were a function of freedom of time. Of course, I could be contradicted, parents' freedom of time, it's a tricky question. But for most of us, in some shape or format, we need freedom. We like autonomy at work. We like independence. You all, there are approximately, I've been told, 70 to 100, right? There is one commonality that we'll find in the answer that you all have dear to your heart, maybe you're not speaking, which is that it is tied with power. If you're powerless in life, you cannot have a great relationship with your children as well. If you're powerless in life, you cannot serve your children. You cannot serve your parents also well. Yes or no? If your mother or father wants to get admitted to the best hospital, I really wish they do not have to go through that situation, but you need to have some shape or format of power in life. And very interestingly, contrary to what people think, power does not just come from designation. Power does not just come from designation. You need not be an executive director or an IAS or an IPS to be able to yield power. There are multiple other creative ideas on having power. What do I mean by that? Power typically comes with huge responsibility. Spider-Man fans in the house. With huge power comes huge responsibility. When I was working in private sector, in one of the teams, I was the junior most member in the team, yet I had the maximum power. I got that power by just working a lot, by taking a lot of initiatives that no one was taking, by having a lot of information knowledge that no one in my team had. Eventually what had happened was the executive in my organization, CEO, started calling me bypassing all the layers in between. Bypassing all the layers in between. That meant that Shatakshi eventually, when she was 21, had a lot of power in a private sector organization, even though she didn't have any formal designation. So first and foremost, maybe you all have a dream that by 35, by 45, by 55, I will gain certain position and that's when I'll have power. No, the same logic applies for public sector as well. I've worked in public sector and I yielded a lot of power just by having a lot of knowledge and just by taking a lot of initiatives as well.